Chadley's Battle Report 12 requires you to boost the stagger damage gauge to 200%. And along with that, there's a trophy that's associated with increasing the stagger damage to 300%. And building to 200% isn't very difficult. Tifa's triangle attack, known as Whirling Uppercut, will boost the stagger gauge by 5%. But it's important to know that there are 3 levels to Tifa's unique ability. The first level being Whirling Uppercut, and the second being Omni Strike. In order to use Omni Strike, all you need to do is use Unbridled Strength. This will boost her Chi gauge up by 1, which allows her to use Omni Strike. And this gets even better when you use Unbridled Strength a second time, which will level her Whirling Uppercut up again into Rise and Fall. Once you use Rise and Fall, then you can use Omni Strike and then back to Whirling Uppercut. To give some numbers, Rise and Fall builds the stagger gauge by 20%, whereas Omni Strike builds the stagger gauge 25%. So used one after the other against an enemy that's already staggered, you'll build the gauge up to 205%, successfully completing Battle Report 12. However, getting 300% is a little bit more difficult. There's 3 different methods that I've used to do this. The only issue is that each method is at a different point in the game. And so based off of where you're at in the game, I figured you could see how I do this and choose whichever method best suits you for where you're at in the game. So first and foremost, you should be going against the Fat Chocobo. He's easy to stagger and he's a good punching bag for building the stagger gauge. This is not a requirement by any means, but I would suggest having ATB Boost on Tifa. You can go ahead and use ATB Boost at the very beginning of the fight. In doing so, will boost her ATB gauge a little bit faster than it normally would. So the first method is solo Tifa, and what you're going to do is you're going to activate ATB Boost, then use Unbridled Strength to build up to Omni Strike. After you staggered Fat Chocobo, you're simply going to use Omni Strike, then attack a little bit more as soon as you have an ATB, Unbridled Strength, and Omni Strike, over and over and over again. The timing is a bit tight, but you should be able to get 300. Once it's close enough, say about 290 to 295, you don't need to do any more attacking to build ATB. Just go ahead and use Whirling Uppercut a couple times. The second method is going to require you to have Tifa's final weapon, Purple Pain. And if you don't know where to get those weapons, you can see there's a video in my description that explains the locations of all the weapons as well as how to get them. Purple Pain's weapon ability, True Strike, when used, builds the stagger gauge by 30%. And very much like our first method, all you're going to do is build the ATB as much as possible, use True Strike over and over and over again. The timing is not nearly as tight as if you were to do this with the Omni Strike method. The 30% boost compared to the 25%, it really helps. And finally, the final method would be with Aerith. You'll need to have the Mithril Rod, as the weapon ability is the Ray of Judgment, which will build the stagger gauge. With Aerith and Tifa building the stagger gauge, you should easily reach the 300% bonus. At the beginning of the battle, you're going to want to build Aerith's ATB all the way to the max to 2 bars. After staggering Fat Chocobo, you're going to use Omni Strike over and over again, while at the same time commanding Aerith to use Ray of Judgment. If you have Purple Pain, by all means, throw in some True Strikes if you'd like as well. You should be able to reach 300% easily with this method, rewarding you with the Staggering Feat Trophy. If the video was helpful to you at all, by all means, please throw a like, leave a comment. I'd really appreciate it. I have more Final Fantasy VII Remake guides on my channel. Feel free to check them out.